head to Seville for the 4th International Conference on Financing for Development, which we are co-hosting with Spain. But before I leave, I wanted to say a few words about the situation in Gaza. The conflict between Israel and Iran has dominated headlines, but we cannot allow the suffering of Palestinians in Gaza to be pushed into the shadows. The ceasefire achieved between Iran and Israel offers hope, and hope is more needed than ever. So it is time to find the political courage for a ceasefire in Gaza. Following the terror attacks by Hamas on 7 October, which I have unequivocally condemned, Israeli military operations have created a humanitarian crisis of horrific proportions, more dire today than at any point in this long and brutal crisis. Families have been displaced again and again, and are now confined to less than 1/5 of Gaza's land. And even these shrinking spaces are under threat. Bombs are falling on tents, on families, on those with nowhere left to run. And people are being killed simply trying to feed themselves and their families. The search for food must never be a death sentence. Let me be clear. Israel, as the occupying power, is required by international law to agree to and to facilitate humanitarian relief. Meanwhile, humanitarian operations continue to be strangled. For over 3 months, shelter materials and fuel for critical services have been blocked. Doctors are forced to choose who gets the last vial for medicine or the last ventilator. Aid workers themselves are starving. This cannot be normalized. A handful of medical supplies finally crossed into Gaza earlier this week, the first from the UN in months. But this only underscores the vast scale of the crisis. A trickle of aid is not enough. What is needed now is a surge. The trickle must become an ocean. We need concrete action so aid can reach all people swiftly at scale wherever they are. Any operation that channels desperate civilians into militarized zones is inherently unsafe. It's killing people. It's time for an immediate ceasefire in Gaza, the immediate and unconditional release of all hostages, and full, safe and sustained humanitarian access. The problem of the distribution of humanitarian aid must be solved. There is no need to reinvent the wheel with dangerous schemes. We have the solution. A detailed plan grounded in the humanitarian principles of humanity, impartiality, neutrality and independence. We have the supplies, we have the experience. Our plan is guided by what people need. It is built on the trust of communities, donors and member states. And it worked during the last ceasefire, so it must be allowed to work again. To those in power I say, enable our operations as international humanitarian law demands. To those with influence I say, use it. To all member states I say, uphold the UN Charter you recommitted to just yesterday for the 80th anniversary. Let us bring in life-saving supplies, let us reach people where they are, and let us recognize that the solution to this problem is ultimately political. The only sustainable path to reestablishing hope is by paving the way to the two-state solution. Diplomacy and human dignity for all must prevail. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Secretary General. The Gaza Humanitarian Foundation today accused the United Nations of misinformation and a campaign of misinformation about killings near their food distribution sites. I wonder if you could answer this allegation.
We didn't invent the images everybody has seen.
Mr. Secretary General, Amélie Bottelier from AFP News Agency. My question is on Sudan. General Burhan this morning released a statement saying he had a phone call with you and you suggested a one-week ceasefire in Al-Fasher, that he accepted it. So can you confirm that, and can you tell us if you also talked with the RSF and what their answer is? Thank you.
We are making contacts with both sides with that objective, and that was the fundamental reason for that phone contact. We have a dramatic situation in Al-Fasher, and you remember that some time ago a big convoy of UNICEF and WFP was bombarded. The people are starving and in an extremely difficult situation. So we need to have an amount of time of truce for aid to be distributed, and we need to have it agreed with some days in advance to prepare a massive delivery in the Al-Fasher area. I am hopeful that I had a positive answer from General Burhan, and I'm hopeful that both sides will understand how vital it is to avoid the catastrophe that we are witnessing in Al-Fasher.
Gabriel? Mr. Secretary General, good morning. Gabriel Elizondo from Al Jazeera English. There was a report in Haaretz Israeli newspaper this morning, sir, that I want your reaction to. There were Israeli soldiers that admitted that they were ordered to shoot unarmed Palestinians while they waited for aid. What is your reaction to that report, sir? And second question is it now time for member states to sanction Israel to get it to comply with international law?
Well, we don't need a report of that nature to acknowledge that there have been massive violations of international law, and indeed, when there is a violation of international law, there must be accountability.
Joe?
Thank you. Joseph Klein, Canada Free Press. Palestinian President Abbas has said fairly recently that the path to a full permanent ceasefire in Gaza and ending the conflict includes not only release of the hostages and withdrawal of Israeli troops, but also the complete disarmament of Hamas and Hamas's giving up of its power and authority. I wonder if your comments on the suggestion that as part of a full peace arrangement that Hamas be required to disarm and give up its authority.
Well, we recognize the Palestinian Authority as the legitimate authority in the Palestinian territory, and of course we will support any peace initiative led by the Palestinian Authority.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you.